going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Good Neighbors Podcast. I am your half host, Dre.
I'm the other half, Lamont.
Welcome back, man.
Welcome back, baby. Nice to see y'all be back in this.
We appreciate it, man. What we got going on for today, man?
I don't know, man. So I'm assuming somebody told you something.
Aquamine.
Man, so if we going with that one, I'm assuming somebody told you something and you believed it.
Yep. I believe you all the time you tell me something.
I think we all do.
Mm-hmm.
I think because we all believe that, I think that's how we kind of get stuck in the position that we're in right now. Someone told us something and we believed them.
Okay, I like where this is going.
And it's a lot going on. And because it's a lot going on, we take what people say as a grain of salt. We take it as the gospel. We take it as what they said, especially if they're in a higher position. They tell us something, and we go, well, all right, they must know what's good for us. Not knowing that they're telling us something to keep us in a position of being stagnant and being like,
ooh, I know, I like that.
Oh, okay, they said it. I believe what they said, so let me keep going. Because I feel like whatever the situation may be, it's to better whatever the outcome for the company is. It's to better what, it's not, okay, I won't say better the family, but it's to
that would be some people's excuses though.
Yeah, to keep us like, okay, better the family, to keep things that they don't want to get out to the masses, or just to keep things in-house, family-wise, business-wise, relationship-wise. I tell you a little quick story just to basically keep you from asking anything else. And we kind of all go through that from relationships, like I said, relationships, work, family, all that.
So, damn, yo, it's crazy because my whole life been really based around that. As you mentioned that in the
I think I probably hit a gym.
Yo, you hit a crazy.
I think he about to break the code.
Yo,
get to the diamond right now.
It's crazy because I don't want to say names and stuff like that, but
right.
a lot of times.
I think this is how this episode.
I'm pretty sure they'll know. I'm pretty sure they'll know sometimes, right?
We about to hit some. We about to hit the code.
When you grow up, it started with when you was growing up. It started with your mom and your grandparents and stuff like that. It started with your parents and your grandparents.
Right.
And a lot of times when you grew up, I don't know how anybody else grew up, but a lot of times I've seen a couple people how I grew up where, like I'm the oldest. So I was told, you always are told, yo, because you're the oldest, you have to make sacrifices, yada, yada, yada,
this, that, and the third.
You have to be the example, you have to lead, this, that. But then you look at elders that's the oldest, and they're not doing the same thing that you're telling me that I have to do and stuff like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or
they basically kind of like want to live vicariously through you.
Or you question your mom about something, or anybody, or any relative, and they'll hit you with the, don't do, what's that term?
Do as I say, not as I do?
Yes, right? And so, but you asking a question and they hit you with that, yo, just do what I say and be quiet. And you, okay, and then you just keep on moving. And
that's a double-edged sword too, because sometimes it may be a reason for it, and then sometimes it's just to shut you the hell up.
So, perfect example of some of this, right? So when it was around like 2003, 2004, somewhere around that time, I had found out some news about myself, about, my parents and my father and stuff like that, right? And so,
and trust me, what you finding out now, there are people who have not even been told certain things yet, and probably won't get told situations ever. I watched an episode on one of them shows. The man was like, I've been taking care of this kid my whole life, blah, 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 and I just want to find out if the kid is mine. And it came to find out the kid wasn't his. And then the judge asked the lady, she said, did you know this child wasn't his? She said, yes, with a straight face.
Yep.
And then the judge said, really? She said, yes, Your Honor.
That's nuts.
And she said, do you know who the father is? She said, yes, I do. And she said, who? She said, his brother. And even the bailiff was like, damn.
Yo, you
and
see
I was
my
like
face?
this.
I was like,
yo, the bailiff was like, damn.
wow.
You know what I'm saying? And
That's
and,
deep.
and you know what? And that's just small, and that's family wise. You know what I'm saying?
But when I asked that question though about so you know what was going on?
Right.
Why now and not before? Well, it was time for you to know. You of age now, and like the way it was told to me was like, yo, you know, you found out, it is what it is, and just suck it up. Like, just deal with it. Like, and I'm like, but there's so much I have to ask. Like, there's so many questions. Like, where was this person and
now,
that and this, that, and the third?
Now, guess what? The burden is off of me. Now I put the full burden on you now to find out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not just with that situation. That goes with, I told you, I ain't know how to tell you. Now I tell you. Now you're old enough to figure it out yourself. And you're like, wait a minute. So let me figure it out now as I'm in the process of becoming a man and becoming a person that's trying to better myself, instead of telling me. I understand that we want to keep certain things, I won't say hidden.
But you pretty much,
I won't say hidden, but kept from children. But I think you might do a lot better helping the kid.
And when I asked, like, yo, why did you not say something earlier? And you get that, yo, it wasn't the right time. We were trying to protect you or something like that. Yo,
so what I gotta do? Wait to get in a car accident, almost die, for me to find out some truth and stuff for the future.
Where the blood ain't mine. Can't nobody give blood.
Not even that. It's just that I gotta crash a whip to find out the truth on any situation.
Yo, it's crazy.
Well, you almost died. So guess what? Boom. You're like.
My whole it's crazy because before all this even happened, growing up, I felt that there was some change and there was already a little bit of favoritism going on. You know what I mean? So I started to. Okay, let me take this back, and this is going to hit right. I got a different last name than my siblings, right?
I don't know if I should have started this topic.
Nope, you shouldn't have. So I got a different last name than my siblings. And growing up, and this is where this is get funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, I always used to be told, we're going to change your name. You were born before we were married, yada, yada, yada. So that's why you got the last name Woods. You were born out of, what they call that, wedlock, I believe, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yada, 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 yada. So my whole thing was, oh, okay, my siblings and them, they were born right after y'all got married, which kind of makes sense in a sense, right?
Right.
And so, you know, growing up, I believe that all these years, I believed it was pretty much based on.
I don't even know.
It was pretty much based on me, just was being born before they got married. But in reality, Negro, I have a whole different dad, and this man is nowhere in sight apparently. And I took my mom's maiden name,
okay,
which, you know, it is what it is on that one, because I respect my mom and my grandmother's maiden name. I respect it to this day. I'm the last Woods, that's surviving out of the family, so
right.
I take pride in that.
No doubt.
But growing up, you just think like, dang, I didn't have my father's last name. Then y'all told me that it was based on being out of what. And so I am a perfect example of what you are talking about, being told something, and that's crazy, yo. And so I bring that to say, not to take any digs at any family members or anything like that of mine. This is all for experience, and that's my experience, right? And it's my example of what this man is talking about and what we both are talking about. That is definitely an experience.
That's just from the family aspect.
Now going into work, you fast forward, you going into work, because I feel like this now at work sometimes also, where you've became programmed by first you getting into a spot where you're comfortable, you're making some money, you get some overtime, you're getting vacation hours and sick hours and stuff like that. So now you're getting into position of moving up in the pyramid of the work pyramid,
workforce, right?
It's the further and further you get to that tip, you start filling out.
Even if you don't get to the tip,
even
if you get into like a bracket of
as you're moving up in tiers.
I'm close to the tip because I'm around those people that are at the tip.
You start peeling back layers of the company, right? And you start seeing certain things for what it is. And then that's where you start getting into the role of, hey, could you do this for us real fast? And we're gonna look out.
Don't
can you do this? Can you do that?
Hold on, what's it? What? The wink and the gun. I hate that now. At first I didn't believe it. You always see it on the shows. But when you see people actually be like, "What you need?" You go, "What you need?" "Hey man, blah 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 blah. I need this. Can you get it from me?" "Oh yeah, I got you." And they go,
"Gotcha, baby."
And at first you're like, "Oh, all right," but then it really started to settle in.
This is crazy.
Yo, man. You gotta be kidding me.
That is interesting.
And you know what? And that's the workforce. We're not getting into the aspect of the world and what's going on in the world of what you don't know and what they tell you, and because they tell you, you take it as the gospel, and it's just something to keep you stagnant, but it don't be the truth. They don't tell you the truth about how are we gonna do this? All right. They don't tell you the truth why we're going into inflation. They don't tell you the truth about your history. They don't tell you the truth about what's actually going on in the country that puts us in the position that we're in right now. Because they tell us one thing, and because we believe, this is what I've learned. To ask, I get in trouble for that, so I want to make sure I say that correct. To ask imperfect men to watch over imperfect men is crazy. So we're asking people that aren't perfect to help us who aren't perfect ourselves to do the right thing for us because we're imperfect ourselves. And that's where we give them so much power, because people don't understand. People think that Congress and all those people are the government. And the thing is, they are not. Because you have to understand what a government actually is. It's the contract that our forefathers created to basically say that we, the people, are the ones that are in charge. And because you don't understand that, and you keep hearing the word repeatedly of a democracy, and you hear it so much, it takes away from what our country was actually founded upon. Which our country was founded upon was being a republic. The lady asked Ben Franklin when he came out of the Congress room, Ben Franklin, what have he wrought? He said, a republic, if you can keep it. Our country was created to be a republic, not a democracy. But the more they keep telling you that it's a democracy, and you keep hearing it, there are two terms you don't want to continue to hear, especially in our country. Democracy and masses. Once you hear those two terms, democracy and masses, once you hear the term masses, it's to lump you up. And that's to control you. And once you hear those terms, that's to create the socialism and the Marxist utopia that they created. They want, because you have to understand, even when it goes with our First Amendment, which we all know what the First Amendment is, you want the right to free speech, you know what I'm saying, the right to say what you want. Remember I said before, you have a right to say what you want, but in the essence of you saying what you want, you have to be aware of what that entails. I can say what I want, but if somebody decides to interject and coincide with my First Amendment speech, that means they either can do one or two things. Listen to what I have to say, or they can walk away. Now remember, if you decide to join in my freedom of speech and interject with what I have to say, that means that you have, now we're going back and forth. But I have a right to say it. You know what I'm saying? Go. I know you got something you don't. What we got?
No, so I was just trying to piggyback on what you were saying about the country being republic and democracy, and I was just asking, right here, was this what you was talking about?
A republic.
Before I end up just blurting it out, you know what I mean?
Okay. A republic is a form of government where the citizens have the supreme power, and they exercise the power by voting and electing representatives to make decisions and govern. Republics come in different forms of government, but a common one is a democracy. Additionally, republics come in different forms. Now, I gave you what a republic is. Now, if you look at what a democracy is, and you figure out what a democracy is, and you learn the difference between both of those, you will see that there's a big difference. Because countries that have democracies, you can see the change. You can, excuse me, sorry about that. When you see what a democracy is, it's more of a voting yourself everything all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? When you're in a democratic area, you basically say, well, I need a job. Government owes me a job. I need a car. Government owes me a job. You're voting yourself these things yourself every single time. And that's the difference. When it's a republic, we all have a chance. We all have our own ideologies to come together and create one. When you have a democracy, you have a one rule, a totalitarian rule. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all the actual definition of what a democracy is. Because I want you guys to understand the difference between the two. Because we fail to realize this is kind of like the same reasons why they don't teach things like cursive in school.
And this is why I'll do the podcast with you to learn this stuff and then look it up as we talking to get an understanding of it versus, just sitting here acting like I know what you're talking about. It gives me an idea of understanding also, and that's what, I love growth, man. I love growth.
That's what we got to, and this is what it's about. We have to, excuse me, we have to kind of go back to the start. When we said this in our podcast a while ago about going back to the basics. I don't know if you remember that conversation we had. So, what you got for what you gonna pull up? And I'm gonna give my definition.
Well, I don't know. I just found this website called democracyandme.org. So I'm not really sure if the credentials or not if they have credentials to be accurate, if these are accurate or not. This is what I meant to say. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but it's pretty much telling me that the United States is a complex entity known as the Democratic Republic. This essentially means that the government operates on a principle of both a republic and a democracy. In other words, the nation functions upon principles that are common in both republics and democracies. Okay. Republic, define a republic as a political order in which the supreme power lies in a body of citizens who are entitled to vote for officers and representatives responsible to them. Okay. The dictionary defines democracy as a government in which the supreme power is vested in the people. Well, no. Democracy as a government in which the supreme power is vested in the people and exercised by them directly or indirectly through a system of representation, usually involving periodically held free elections. In other words, in a republic, there are a group of citizens elected or appointed to represent the people, but with a democracy, the power is theoretically in the hands of usually all voting citizens. A democratic republic is a mixture of the two.
Right.
Okay. And what were you mentioning about the democracy now?
Because when you have a democracy, you basically have, they'll mention a democracy in the sense of the power is basically being held with them and not the people. And the people are the ones that hold control. That's why I told you when you act with the
And that's why they say directly or indirectly through a system of representation, usually involving
So do you think
free elections.
So do you think I give a care about your org if I keep mentioning democracy?
Yeah.
Because if I keep telling you democracy, I'm giving you the one power. I'm not giving you both. Because a Republican, I got both. You know what I'm saying? I have to pay attention to what the people tell me. The people that are in charge, those are the people that are in charge is listening to what the people say. So if what the people say we gotta do, then guess what? We gotta adhere to what they gotta do.
Now my question is, and I don't know if we're getting too far into this, right? But my question is, so if the democracy is the power is theoretically in a citizens elected or appointed to represent the people, but with a democracy, the power is theoretically in the hands of usually all voting citizens. Okay, gotcha. That's what I meant to say. So if it's in the hands of all of voting citizens,
right,
we possibly all can't be voting for the shit that's going on in this world.
Why would you? Why would you?
So how the hell is it possible that we're going through some of the stuff? Because I'm pretty sure.
The reason why we're going through the stuff that we're going through today is the same way I kind of said in our last episode was. We have got comfortable and complacent. And because we got comfortable and complacent, these things get taken from you overnight. And you don't know it. Because you're so bombarded with work, schoolwork. Shout out to a man knocking out his schoolwork, about to get that degree.
Second one.
You're
about to say, man.
No, I ain't gonna shortchange you. I ain't gonna shortchange you, cuz. I ain't gonna shortchange you.
I'm fucking y'all thinking. I appreciate that.
I ain't gonna shortchange you on that at all.
You better add that first one.
No doubt. I ain't gonna shortchange you at all.
That was hard work too.
No, facts.
But I appreciate it though. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You get so bombarded with this stuff that when things like this happen, you don't. Okay, here we go. We got times where we gonna knock this out. This current president been shiploading people from across the border every day and night on the low without people even knowing. You didn't know it, but guess what? I just told you. If you don't believe me, go look it up. Because I told you before. Listen to everybody, believe nothing until you do the research yourself. Now, what the governor of Texas, one of the governors of Texas and one of the governors of Florida decided to do was ship those same people that have been coming over illegally over to those big places that are liberal, that have been telling people, guess what? We accept you, we don't care, yada, yada, yada. But guess what? The place that they sent them was a place called Martha's Vineyard, where all your favorite ex-presidents and go vacationing in homes and beach houses and everything. My favorite president, JFK, I don't know if you know, which I hope to go one day to go visit his library, is in Martha's Vineyard. Now, guess what? If I just told you all those high-class people are in that area and you decide to go ship some illegal migrants over there, what do you think the reception is going to be? Do you think they're going to be waiting with open arms? I don't think so. And guess what happened? As soon as those people got to that house, not the house, but that area, guess what they did? They said, oh no, we can't have this here. So it shows you the hypocrisy of those same people. And then they try
we can't handle it here.
Oh, no. Well, of course we can't handle it here. Because guess what? We don't want y'all here. But we front. We put on a big front and act like we do. Because it look good. It look good. High five. Because it look good to our friends. Oh, you're doing your job. You're doing what you're supposed to. That's right, Cheryl. That's right, John. You put a little sticker up in your house. We're all for this, all for that. But then when shit hit the fan, a man named Bill told me when shit hit the fans ain't shit. So guess what? When that started to happen, guess what happened? They got scared. And there was only like about 40 people. Give or take maybe 40. Then all of a sudden, guess what? Oh, we don't have the adequate amount of housing for these people. Oh, we can't bring them in. And guess what they end up doing?
We don't got the infrastructure in the city.
And guess what they end up doing? They bust them people as quick as they could out of Martha's Vineyard. Got them out of there. Like I said, you ain't gotta listen to
And here they go.
What we got?
We don't got the ability, but we don't have the ability. We're not Texas, so they automatically is like, oh, Texas can do this. They can handle this.
Because that's where they came through.
No.
So guess what?
Oh, they don't want that.
So y'all don't want that there, yeah. So you guys are hypocrites. You guys talked all that talk and can't walk the walk. And they shipped them out of there as quick as they could, as fast as they could. Because guess what? I didn't mean what y'all was saying.
Mm-mm.
All those signs and everything. Because once they
and that's exactly what they talking about right there. Y'all didn't. All the stuff y'all was talking about, y'all didn't believe it.
Y'all didn't believe it because it sounded good to your friend. And this kind of goes back to our last episode of saying one thing, but not following through. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So guess what that means? You basically showed your card, but then they try to flip the script and say, oh, they promised these people that they was going to come here. No. When the last presidency, y'all claimed that y'all had no problem being sanctuary cities. Mm-hmm. Bring them all in. We ready. The last president is a jerk. Yada, yada, yada. This president, if you look it up, said, come on in. No problem. They came in with shirts with his name on it. You can't make this stuff up. Mm-hmm. You can't make this stuff up. But once again, somebody told you something and you believed them. And that just goes with that aspect. I'm not even going to go as far back as history of what they told you. Of how they made you to be a victim. How they told you all came from being shackled. How they basically all told you that the reason we went to Vietnam War, the reason for World War II, it goes for the reason for the Civil Rights Movement, the reason for the Revolutionary War. All this stuff is things that they told you, and you took it and you accepted it. And you didn't look into it, and you just roll with that. And that's our issue. We just listen to what they tell us, and we just rock out with it. But then when things start to slowly happen, you're like, I don't know how we got there. But like I said before, they've been telling you this stuff, or they wrote it down, put it in a book, sold whatever copies, put it in a library, and because they know you won't go to a library, they know you won't read a book, they won't teach your kids cursive. And this is how we dumb down a society. Because we'll tell you this, and you'll be like, all right, bet. That's the way it go.
And you know what is, I don't know if this make any sense or if this is even, added to this. But to come over here, to constantly get shipped back and forth. Mm-hmm. Is that really what y'all, this is really what you guys are dealing with? It's not really open arms when you're coming over here.
I feel sorry for those people.
I do. It's like, so you're already crossing borders however way you're doing it, but now you're over here and it's like ping pong in a sense.
Right.
You just getting tossed all over the, come on, man.
But you know what?
Is that the life you really want to live?
But it all depends. Because guess what? This is what I've learned. And y'all gonna have to hold on for a second.
To just go from Texas to New York, and then to New York to DC, and then to DC to get shipped back to Texas, to constantly be in these camps and these
but this is what I've
facilities. That's just nuts, man.
This is what I've learned. A lot of these situations where a lot of those people come from has been done on purpose to destroy their countries, to provide all kinds of chaos for their countries so those people can come here. You have some people that come here the correct way. You have some people that come here and receive asylum here. But this is what I've learned. For those that have came here and tried to do it the right way, that have spent stupid amounts of money to actually become American citizens, I know a few. From being in the military, I know some that had to spend some money. And then I know some that come here, and I don't know any, but there are some that come here the other way. That just come here, receive benefits and handouts. They don't assimilate to the country. And for those that don't try to assimilate to the country, they're bringing the same destruction that they brought from their past country here. Because those that came over, what we're looking at, if you guys remember, the movie Scarface with Al Pacino, great movie, classic. That movie kind of like basically stems off what actually happened in Cuba with Fidel Castro and the Mariana boat lift. He emptied out his prisons and sent them to the coast of Florida. Emptied them out. We can't take these people, and they sent them there. We are looking, I want to make sure I'm saying that right. Could you look it up? I think it's Mariella.
What you want me to look up now?
Mariella boat lift. I want to make sure I'm saying it correct. Because I want to make sure I get it correct.
Marielle.
The Marielle boat lift. And this was during that time frame. I got a Cuban friends, and I got some that I was served with and everything. And this is some of the stories that they told me. We're looking at that version 2.0, where you have military age men. Military age men. We're not talking about like destitute men or struggling looking men. Because I got friends that work the border. Some of these dudes' lineups is better than mine. Some of these dudes' jeans is better than mine. Some of them phones are better than mine. And they come here. Military age men, instead of fighting for their country, are finding an easier way to get here. Just look up some of the videos and the photos. You see men, military age men. Might see a sprinkle of a woman here, or maybe a child here for the most part. But guess what? In reality, we're looking at military age people that could be defending their country that's coming here. And we're supposed to believe that they can defend
125,000 Cubans reach Florida.
Oh yeah.
And that was in the late 1980s.
Look it up. The Mariel boat lift. If you, and it's not to degrade anyone. Once again, this is history. You might know some people that probably came from this situation. But what the Scarface movie did was give you the negative aspect of the people that came over. And this is how I'm gonna do this, and you might not like it, but it's true. The Mariel boat lift Scarface movie gave you the negative aspect. The Godfather gave you the negative aspect of Italians. Boys in the Hood gave you the negative aspect of African Americans. That's what they see. This is what they see of us worldwide. That's the perception they look at us, especially as us as young African Americans. I could be a smart genius. If I go to another foreign country and I gotta fit it on, I look a certain way, I'm looked at as a rapper. Or I was like, I got some type of hood tendencies, whatever it may be. And that's just because if I haven't fitted on or whatever. Trust me, I've seen it, I witnessed it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is what they do. And with that aspect, they show that aspect of us. The negative aspect. That hood culture, that hip hop culture that you see, not the old school 80s b-boy. For some certain countries that still listen, that listen to hip hop, they adhere to the old school 80s b-boy elements of the hip hop genre. But for some other countries, the negative aspect, that's what they absorb. Not only just the fashion, but the mentality. From London to Korea, Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, all that. The negative aspect. Not the aspect of being a hard-working person, of being a person that's a go-getter and trying to do well for himself. You get the hood aspect. So, you know what I'm saying? But that's just breaking it down, going back from what we were talking about the boat lift. Because I just don't want to single out a specific group of people.
Yeah.
I wanted to basically show what they've created. And for us, it started before that. It started during the Civil Rights Movement. I'm going to get in trouble for this, but you don't like me? Look it up. It started from the Black Panther Party being infiltrated. You had people that wanted to do right. They got infiltrated. Then they switched it from that and moved into the coke and blow, pimp, black exploitation aspect. Then it turned from the black exploitation aspect to the crack era. And you have to remember, before that, people of color were doing pretty damn good. Doing really good. But then they gave you this chaos. Took the pops out the homes. Told the mothers that you didn't need to be married. The feminist movement. You know what I'm saying? Things like that that were created to destroy not only just the African American family, but destroy the culture in general. And that's what they've used as a pretext to create what we see today. Because you have to understand, it all started from the hippie era. Free love, woo! All created. Feminist movement, woo! All created. NAACP, woo! All created. So we have to understand that what we're seeing now isn't new. There's nothing that's new under the sun. It's happened before. You're just not, this is just first for you. You're just not seeing it. But you're going to go back and you're going to read history and you're probably going to get a different story. You're going to get a different story of how we got into this inflation. You're going to get a different story of how the shop thing happened. You're going to get a whole different story. That's why I'm telling you to get the books now. Read everything. Believe none of it until you can continue to research and get that info coming. Sorry, I'm going with this.
Oh, you good, man. This is what we need, man. You gave me some info.
That's the truth.
We living in some crazy times, man.
Living in times to be honest with you, this is the perfect time to dumb down a society. It's a perfect time. From social media to everything that we're seeing right now, I'm gonna get in trouble for this again. So guess what? Hey, sometimes you gotta erase it. The algorithm that you're seeing on TikToks in America is totally different from the algorithm that they get in China where it was created. What they show you on TikTok here in America,
oh yeah, 100%.
Shorties shaking 100%. Their cheeks, dudes playing pranks and all that stuff. That's what they show you. You know what they teaching them over there? They're giving you points and rewards for doing good things, positive things, creating, building, engineering, and you don't get it.
Yep.
You don't get it.
I did hear
I understand you want to get bread. I understand you want to be monetized. I understand it. I understand it. But like I told my man before, this is a path that I'm gonna take, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. Because
the truth needs to be out. And I'm not even saying it to be like controversial. It's there. You just have to look it up.
Nah, we need somebody to hire to walk by the camera one time and just
pop out of nowhere like message.
You know. Nah,
but it's real. We gotta want. Yo, you got to, man. Because like I said before, this is the perfect generation that they're going to use. It's a double-edged sword because you have certain people that are easy to manipulate, but then you have certain ones in that same generation that's like, hell no, we're not gonna have that because we're already aggressive, but we're aggressive to the sense where I don't want to live in a crap show. So the generation now is the back and forth generation that we're going to see that's going to be the ones that stand up. Yeah.
Interesting stuff, bro.
My fault, I took the ball and ran with it.
Hey, that's what we here for, man. I'm just gonna play the cornerback, Mike. Whenever we on defense, man, I got it.
You go to Dion prime time.
For real, man.
Prime time.
But yeah, so definitely learn what's going on to your best ability.
Best of your ability.
Book, newspaper.
Grab it all.
Try and grab it all, yeah.
If you can, I say try and grab it all. And in the essence of you grabbing it all, sift through and pick pieces out. And
it's funny, and as we sit here and we talk about this, just pay attention to what's happening. This man talked, and then I'm sitting here doing the research to understand, to do my research. So, and it's what we say, yo, Do your research. So as this man sit here and he say something, I'm searching for it to get my understanding of it.
Right.
And you should do the same things also.
And if I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, he'll be like, yo, that's not what I found. Let's say boom, 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 boom. And he'll say it, and I'm like, all right, bet, because we have to understand. One hand washes the other, but both hands wash the face. You feel me?
Good neighbors, man. So y'all have a good day, man. Next episode.
Peace.